Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live on Facebook every morning at 10:30 in the morning, where we take a look at current headlines, stories, tips, comments, and suggestions that come our way so that we can learn from them and have a most amazing life here in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. If you are new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and you can let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comments, and that way we can give you a proper welcome. Of course, at the same time, it is always great to welcome all our friends that are here with us just about every day or every other day from all over the world. We have people joining us from Australia, from Europe, from the United States, from Canada, from right around the corner as well, just a few blocks from here. I see friends that tune in from Colonia Versalles and such. And if by any chance you joined us yesterday, you will appreciate how and why I spent my afternoon walking around the city, running errands, but singing, play that funky music, White Boy, and just laughing out loud to myself. I had a really good time yesterday during the broadcast singing and coming up with suggestions for a possible operatic recital that will hopefully take place in Puerto Vallarta at some point. Anyhow, good morning, Mike, and good morning, Craig, and good morning, all kinds of wonderful friends. Good morning, Christine from Chile, San Miguel de Allende. How nice to have chilly weather. We're getting there very, very slowly. Our mornings or our evenings are starting to feel ever so slightly nippy. You know, yesterday I thought I would be really strong and run errands and walk from point A to point B. But even though the humidity was low, it was still really hot out there. So I ended up Ubering a little bit and confusing Uber drivers when I started singing, "Play that funky music." It was fun. It was fun. Anyhow, today we have all kinds of news. We have sad news today. We have sad news. I love Michael. Michael's like, music. Let us talk about music. I always want to talk about music, Michael. And I have come up with a great musical topic last night. See, it's so funny because when you're least expecting it, information comes to you and inspiring ideas come to you. And usually that happens to me when I don't have an easy time falling asleep. And last night, again, I was tossing and turning and I came up with this wonderful idea to talk about one of the most beautiful, important songs in Spanish ever. But we won't do that today because I just had that idea last night and the song deserves to be treated in a most respectful way. So I'm going to prepare that at some point. But I just love coming up with awesome ideas that I think you will enjoy. Most of the time I've been accurate. Sometimes the ideas have not been so well received, but that's how we learn. That's how we learn. And speaking of ideas, oh dear, Julie says, no sad news, please. Well, they are important news. And I try to spin them in the most positive way possible, but there are some things that I do believe it is important that we are aware of. Tomorrow, Sunday Fun Day, will definitely be a no sad news kind of day, because that's what Sunday Fun Days are for, particularly for those that have never joined us on a Sunday. Sunday, we don't share news of any kind unless they're happy news or silly news. And of course, I've been doing all my parrot swearing research all this week, and I've had a lot of fun looking for interesting parrot videos to share with you. The legendary parrots that have been quarantined in an England zoo for swearing too much. I haven't been able to find any footage on them. Lots of articles, yes, but actual footage of the parrot saying nasty words, I have not found any. So I'm starting to believe that these are fake news. But there are other very, very articulate parrots out and about, and I'm going to be introducing them to you tomorrow, along with other wonderful things that we're going to talk about. Anyhow, who are we I see congratulations for Christy. What happened? What happened? Did I miss something? I need to scroll through the messages. I don't see any reason to congratulate Christy, but congratulations, Christy. Um, let's see. Kathleen cannot get Besame Mucho out of her head because of me. Well, if you want to get Besame Mucho out of your head, go to YouTube and find Luis Miguel's version. It is so disgusting that it'll just purge the song out of your head. There's no worse version of Besame Mucho in the world than the one that our very own Luis Miguel sang a few years ago. That's just my opinion, and if you disagree with me, let me know, and that's okay. It's allowed to disagree. We love disagreements. Anyhow, back to the news. Let's just talk about the news, because the sooner we talk about the sad news, the sooner we forget about them. Boom. I've been suspecting this coming, and it has arrived. Enrique Alfaro our governor, has now given us, the new baby. That's right. That's right. And you were wondering, you didn't know the gender, right? Christy, is this your grandchild, or am I getting my comments mixed up? I think I read about this a couple of days ago. Please fill me in. Anyhow, back to Enrique Alfaro. And I will not get distracted by the comments, I promise. Enrique Alfaro warns us that we could have another quarantine in Jalisco if we don't watch the guidelines. This comes to us, and it shouldn't be a surprise. Yes, we've been talking about how things have been getting better in our state, and as far as the hospital occupation is concerned, I noticed at the beginning of this week how the number of active cases increased in comparison to the week before. And I've noticed this, and I said to myself, I hope this is not a trend. Well, it must be becoming a trend that the number of active cases is increasing. And our governor went as far as saying that a lot of this has to do with the younger group who is feeling entitled and is going out and not respecting sanitary measures and thinking that they're not going to get it because they're young, and so forth and so on. He mentioned specific municipalities, including Puerto Vallarta, where he has been traveling and going, to do his work as a governor. And he said that he regretted looking out and about and seeing that people are out just not regarding that this could happen again. So what do we have to do? All we have to do is wear a face mask, keep our distance, don't gather in groups of more than, I forget what the exact number is, 40, 50 people, so forth and so on. Nothing has changed as far as what we need to do. So that is what Enrique Alfaro, our governor, is saying. Needless to say, and tied up with this, I was so very sad to learn this morning that the International Book Fair in Guadalajara will not take place as we know it. It will only be virtual. The International Book Fair in Guadalajara happens to be the largest book expo fair in all of Latin America. And it happens every year in Guadalajara in November, and it lasts a little bit over a week. And it is a great opportunity to buy books, to read books, to go to concerts and do all kinds of things. And I've been sad about this, thinking, I really hope that they don't that they don't cancel it. Usually, there's always a special country that is invited as a guest, and that country brings in books and so forth and so on. Well, unfortunately, all of that has been canceled. The state of Jalisco will lose over 25 million pesos in revenue from people that come and stay in the city of Guadalajara and participate in all the activities that go on in the fair. This is a large event. It is a large enclosed event. And unfortunately, these cancellations give us a taste of what we might expect here in Puerto Vallarta as far as important big events that are approaching are concerned. Let us hope that not many things get canceled. We know, I see a comment here from Trucha Danzante. I worry for Halloween and Dia de los Muertos a couple of weeks later. Of course, I mean, all the things that we get used to that we enjoy in our city during the fall and winter months, we start thinking, well, are they going to cancel these things or not? Let us hope that they're not. In other COVID-related news, some bus inspectors in the state of Nayarit have been busted for corruption because they have accepted bribes by bus drivers who didn't want to worry about cleaning their buses. So they thought it would be a lot easier to just bribe the inspectors and not have to disinfect their buses. And this has all come to light, and it is very unfortunate, and it is happening in our state next door. Very, very sad news to hear. And that's pretty much all the sad news that I have. Everything else is thought-provoking and interesting, but not necessarily sad. Yesterday, I talked a little bit about fideicomisos, or trusts, that are set up by the Mexican government. Again, this has nothing to do with real estate fideicomisos. The fideicomisos that I'm talking about are trusts that are set aside by the government to be able to support specific projects, primarily in science and technology and in the arts. There is a threat that fideicomisos might be removed from the laws of Mexico, and a lot of people have raised concern that this would mean that support for such programs, science, technology, and arts programs, would cease to exist. And I read an interesting article or statement made by the director of the National Council on Science and Technology in Mexico, CONACYT. And this is the most important foundation in our country that oversees scientific and technology related development. And the director, Maria Elena Alvarez Builla, supports the elimination of fideicomisos because she has guaranteed that the support will continue to be there, but with the elimination of the fideicomisos or trusts, they will be able to handle the monies in a more transparent way. So I'm going to keep track of this situation because it is an important situation. It's something that affects our arts community, our science community, and we'll have to see again how this continues to unfold. This is a measure that was introduced by Andrés Manuel López Obrador's party, and it's being challenged in Congress. So I'll keep you posted on this, but I thought you would want to have a little bit of a follow-up. And again, to make sure that everybody has this clear, this has nothing to do with real estate fideicomisos, the kind that you need to learn about if you're hoping to buy property in Mexico as a foreigner. Different story. Talking about corruption, this was I'm going to have to say that a couple of headlines that I picked up today, I picked up because they make me feel a little ranty, and hopefully not in a very bad way. But this particular headline has to do with the fact that somebody threw a poll, and it turns out that 6 out of 10 Jaliscienses, or residents of the state of Jalisco, don't know how to denounce a corruption incident or a corruption situation. And of course, the article goes on and talk about how it is important to denounce corruption and so forth and so on. But nowhere in the article does they say, oh, by the way, if you have witnessed some corruption, you can report it here, there, or everywhere. Now, because I found this bit of news just as we were getting started with the broadcast this morning, I didn't have time to do my homework and find out where or how on earth we are to report something that is corrupt. Because I must admit, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, and I certainly hope that somebody does. And if you don't, then we'll have to find out together and become better informed citizens as we figure out how to do this. In other news, Contralinea always has these really interesting headlines in which, I mean, they must have access to technology and science that I want to have access to, because they find all these series of facts that have to do on a day like today. So on a day like today, on the October 3rd, 1959, was when the first bridge over the Rio Quale was inaugurated in Puerto Vallarta. And it was inaugurated by engineer Marcial Resendiz. And the article, of course, does not specify which one of the bridges it was, but I love these facts. I don't know about you. Maybe you don't enjoy them as much, but this is the kind of thing that I would love to see on a timeline that we can all enjoy, and maybe that'll be my own research project at some point, to just find the books that deal with the history of Puerto Vallarta and find a way to corral all these little facts and all these chronological incidents that tell us the story of our city. Let me take a little break here, and I want to take a quick look at your comments just to see if we're missing out on anything interesting. Bésame mucho, we talked about that. Lori, I love the fact that you're here every morning. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. And Christy, thank you very much for clarifying. Congratulations. It is good to know, and I hope that the baby brings a lot of joy to you and yours, that the baby is healthy, and how wonderful that is. How wonderful that is. Oh my God. The Del Rubio triplets. Raymond, thank you very much. I remember the Del Rubio triplets because I believe they appeared in Pee Wee's Playhouse one time. Or why do I associate the Del Rubio triplets with Pee Wee? I'm not sure. But I don't know their version of Besame Mucho. I'm definitely going to go research this because I am sure I am going to enjoy it. Interesting. You know, we have, I have, I have an interesting project related to Besame Mucho too, and I'd love to talk to you about that, Kathleen. It's actually an exercise that I've conducted in one of my music appreciation lectures, but I don't want to give it away. Don't want to give it away. Let's see. Yes, it is sad about the book fair, not only because of the book fair, but because this gives us an indication that for better or worse, we're not ready. We're not ready yet to embrace a lot of large scale events, be it book fairs or concerts or going to the theater or large scale festivals. I mean, they're talking, I've seen a couple of headlines here and there that the farmers market is coming back. I mean, are we really going to be ready for the farmers market? Should we have events like a farmers market open? And how are they going to handle social distancing, and how are they going to handle face masks and things like that? And so it is definitely thought provoking, and it is sad to see that we are not ready. We are not ready. Kathleen, insomnia usually means I might as well just get up and drink a cup of coffee and get going. But don't hold it against yourself. Sometimes, you know, if you cannot sleep, it's nice to just contemplate. I love those 3 C's. Casa Bellavista, thank you very much. Close contact, closed spaces, crowded places. I love it. Kathy asks, how can I send you a personal message? I want to tell you about the jalapeno wine. Don't want to bore people. Just send me a message through the interface here at the website. If you go to the website where you're watching, let me see, Facebook. Ojeda Live. Am I there? Let me open this up. If you come into our very own website, and let me view this as a visitor so that I can show you exactly what you would see. If you want to send me a private message, just hit this button here, message. I think you will get an automatic message from Facebook that says get started. If you just want to type something there, I am sure to receive your message and I will be very happy to read it. Let me see, where did we stop in the news? Let me make sure that I am back to where I'm supposed to be. Uh, and we are. Let's see. More question. Bribes for bus inspectors. Isn't sanitizer cheaper? You'd think, Rita, and not only economically, but in the long run. Um, Spending my lunch break with Paco is my new normal. Christopher, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that very much. Um, Kathleen is sharing a funny version of Besame Mucho. I'm definitely going to get to that after the broadcast. I'm always intrigued about what you guys share with me. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so there's a lot of back and forth about Besame Mucho. And then I see a question. Is Beef Dip 2020 happening? Christopher, I see a lot of questions about this online, and I would believe that Beef Dip hasn't been canceled. For those of you that don't know about Beef Dip is a famous annual party that brings together a bunch of bears to Puerto Vallarta, bears being a subset of the gay community, men that like furry men. And I know that I'm not explaining bears in the best way possible. Bears are sexy. I love bears, but hard to explain bears just like that. Beef Dip is a party for bears. If you're not a bear, I'll be happy to explain bears later on. But I understand that it is happening, and I see a lot of questions online from tourists wondering, how are things in Puerto Vallarta? How are you guys doing? And again, even though this space is not for tourists, I sometimes wish that tourists would tune in because that's this is what we're talking about. So anyhow, I'll keep my eyes open for Beef Dip, Christopher, and we'll definitely talk about it as it approaches. Beef Dip, I think, happens at the end of January, beginning of February, somewhere thereabouts. Um, dun, 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 dun. Okay, so moving on with the headlines. We were talking about the city doing some fixing of local streets, and I noticed that somebody commented on specifically on Montessori Street and how dreadful it is. And I saw this report on Montessori Street, and I wanted to share it with you because this is a very unique case of a street that is not even in the middle of nowhere. This is the street that is right next to the hospital that we used to know as Hospital San Javier. And I'm going to show you in the map where it is so that you can see how this street rather, is right in the middle of everything. And it is amazing to see that it has never been paved. See, here's the main avenue, and there's the maritime terminal, and here's Hospital San Javier that now is called Hospital Joya. In this street is Maria Montessori. There's Teatro Limon, if you've ever been to Bruce's restaurant. So this particular street, I know this well because my dear friend Paul used to live right over here. So I've driven down this street a number of times, and it is absolutely scary that such an urban street has never been paved. And for better or for worse, there are a number of streets like that here in Puerto Vallarta that need a lot of love. And I see your comment saying that it is a horrible street, and I completely agree. It's not a user-friendly street. Moving right along, I think it is time to invoke our weather. So please let me do that. Whoosh. Okay. Carrot Weather says, you probably think this sunshine means things are starting to look up for you. They are not. Now, that's optimism the way I like it. It is 26 degrees in Puerto Vallarta, feels like 28. Fahrenheit, it's 79. Humidity is down to 58%. Just less than a week ago, we had 100% humidity. So this is a clear indication that the fresh, cool weather is heading our way. thank goodness. I can't believe the summer came and went or is coming and going, and we are finally getting back to reasonably enjoyable weather. Well, I mean, we love summers, but it is so nice to be able to walk around the city and not be schwitzing um, from head to toe as you do so. The weather forecast for today tells us that it's going to be humid through the day, but haha, we don't care because it's only 58% humidity. Tomorrow, the same thing. It'll be humid through the day. And Monday, we will begin the week with humidity. So you can see the rain is subsiding. And hopefully, even though we know that this tends to be hurricane month, that we will not see a lot of that. And speaking of hurricanes, I want to let you know that Hurricane Marie came and went and we didn't even notice. This was that tropical activity that we talked about a few days ago. Well, it became a hurricane. It became a category 4 hurricane. But by the time it did so, it was already way past the Baja California Peninsula. Here it is. So it's gone out and about, and we barely even saw it coming. But I thought I'd mention it anyway so that you would know that we're keeping track of these things. Now, we mentioned a couple of days ago that El Malecon is now open for tourists again, and many restaurants, I understand, um, are creating incentives for people to come and enjoy the restaurants on the Malecon. Some of them have 2-for-1 offers. Particularly, there is a restaurant called Shamsi, who must have paid a small fortune for the paper to mention them specifically. Because the papers don't do that for free. See, there's another ranty statement on my part. I'm sorry, but it is interesting. I mean, for a restaurant to have gotten this kind of coverage by a local paper saying that they have 2-for-1, they must have paid. Do I know this Shamsi restaurant? I don't. Do I recommend it? I can't because I have never been there. But, it's time to go back and walk the Malecon. Feel free to do that. You may find a nice restaurant where you can enjoy a promotion, maybe not, but still, it is nice to see that things are reopening again. We can only hope that people that are going out and about are doing so responsibly. I took an Uber through downtown yesterday, but it was difficult to tell whether a lot of people were keeping distance or not. There's a long interview on El Universal today about singer Alejandro Fernandez, who is going to offer a show through streaming tonight. There's a long, long article on his career and how this year has worked out for him and so forth and so on. We know Alejandro Fernandez because he is the son of famous mariachi singer Vicente Fernandez, his father. They're from Guadalajara, and Alejandro has sung both traditional music and also pop music. And again, this is an article that talks about him, his career, his year, and his streaming concert tonight, but the article doesn't let us know where or when or how you can enjoy Alejandro Fernandez's concert, another mini rant. But this time I did have a little bit of time to do some homework for you, and I realized that if you're interested in Alejandro Fernandez's concert tonight, which is going to be streamed live at 8:30 in the evening. This is the website where you can buy a ticket, and tickets are a whopping 508 pesos to watch the concert from your home. That's expensive. That's expensive to me. I would not pay 500 pesos to watch Alejandro Fernandez from my living room. But it is interesting to see that this is the price that they're charging, and I wonder if this is a standard that some big concert tickets will continue to have as we move forward into this world in which we are going to enjoy many, many concerts through streaming. Then again, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were all very spoiled because a lot of people were streaming things for free. But artists are now realizing, well, wait a second, if this is how we are going to be able to make a living, this is how we're going to charge. And even Dr. Hartman, who is my personal counselor for music, theater, therapy related issues, says that is a ridiculous fee for an online concert. I tend to agree. And if Mark Hartman, who is in touch with Broadway and cabaret music in New York, where tickets are as expensive as they get. If Mark Hartman says that that is a ridiculous fee for an online concert, I side with my dear friend Mark, who I hope is already preparing a wonderful repertoire of 70s questionable operatic songs. But no ABBA. I forgot to say yesterday. No Besame Mucho and no ABBA, please. Anyhow, that was the Alejandro Fernandez concert. Two more headlines to share with you. Oh, three more headlines, and then we look at your last minute comments. Tamaulipas, the state of Tamaulipas, I don't know whether I like this or I don't like this, but the state of Tamaulipas is developing an application, an app on your phone where you can reserve time to go to the beach, the public beach. Um, and the article does mention that, if you don't have a phone, if you belong to the unprivileged class of Mexicans that cannot afford a phone but still wants to go to the beach, we will take care of you and we will welcome you if we have room. But seeing that technology becomes necessary to be able to enjoy our public beaches, that just rings wrong to me, and maybe that's just my own opinion. I'm just happy this is not happening in our own beaches. Penultimately, the people that are organizing this cannabis event here in Puerto Vallarta are continuing to give press conferences and so forth and so on. This particular press conference says that in 6 months we could see the opening of the first chain of cannabis drugstores. They're calling them farmacias in Spanish. Oh, and by the way, it's farmacia, not farmacia, like many people call them. It is a diphthong, so we call them farmacias, in case you wondered. Anyhow, the article says that we could have the first chain, the first national chain of farmacias specialized in cannabis product in a matter of 6 months. Of course, we've been waiting for years, or at least a year, for the response from Congress to authorize cannabis for medicinal purposes, and it hasn't happened. And they keep extending it, and it just hasn't happened. But these are the people that are organizing Mayenhaze, which is this event that I've mentioned before that is coming the same weekend as Thanksgiving to Puerto Vallarta. I am going to go just because I want to see what the fuss is all about, and I'll keep you posted on that if you are potheads like myself. Last but not least, and I'll get to your comments in a second, last but not least, there's a new trailer out there for the new movie called The Witches, featuring Anne Hathaway. And this is a remake of the movie that was that featured What's Her Face, the daughter of What's His Face, that is famous here in Puerto Vallarta. And I can't believe anyhow, it's a remake. And it's being remade by Robert Zemeckis, who we know as a wonderful director that loves to throw in special effects into his fantasy films. And this is about a bunch of witches that take over, I think it's a little town or something like that. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. This whole thing was directed by Zemeckis, and the screenplay was adapted with Guillermo del Toro and Kenya Barris. So I saw the trailer, and it's hysterical. I'm going to share the link with you. And the good or bad thing about this is that it is not going to be premiered in movie theaters. It is going to be premiered in HBO Max, which is interesting because now we see that a lot of big important movies are either being postponed till next year or they're being launched on streaming channels like HBO. So I saw the trailer this morning, and I laughed, and I think you'll laugh as well. And we all need to laugh. Quick look at your comments so that we can continue with our wonderful day. Nya, 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 nya. Let's see. You've mentioned your change of humidity recently. Michael, if you're suggesting that I am feeling less humid, yes, I am feeling less humid. And I can also see that humidity in our city is decreasing. So yes, humidity and keeping track of humidity becomes a fun activity this time of year for Vallartenses, or Vallartians, as some people calls us. Mark says that's a ridiculous fee for a concert, and we talked about this. Um, let's see. Michael Evans is watching a modern dance concert online this evening. Feel free to share the URL with us, Michael. Maybe we want to watch that with you. And Mark is planning a repertoire. I hope that you guys are talking to one another. I love it. Let's see. Vallarta Heather Wilson says, no, ABBA, please. Can you hear the drums, Fernando? No, we don't need any of that shit, please. No ABBA. No ABBA. I love it. Michael says, Pharmacia is out. Yes, it is. It is. It's the same. Another common mistake is when people call la comer, because the word comer means to eat, but la comer is a shortened version of the word la comercial, and we call it la comer with an accent on the O, by the way. Thank you. Yes, Angelica Houston. That was the name that I was not picturing in my mind. It is Angelica Houston who did the first version of Witches. And yes, Del Toro is a genius, and he is from Guadalajara. He's from Jalisco, and we are very, very proud of this. Is the concert I mentioned a benefit? Hell no. And in fact, let's make sure that I am correct in my comment. Let's take a quick look. No, it's Alejandro Fernandez, and this is Alejandro Fernandez. No, nothing here says it's just a digital concert. The way I see this, Mark, and everybody else is, I mean, I'm sure that the production companies behind these concerts are testing the waters. You know, what they may find is that they are not successful with this one, and they will realize that they may have to change their fees in the future. So hopefully this will be a learning experience for the concert organizers. Mark says it benefits Alejandro. Well, only if people buy tickets it does. But if they don't buy tickets, then again it'll be something that they will learn from. Gary had La Comer wrong. Well, I love you back, Gary. I mess up words in English, and some of you are quite quick to point them out to me, I might say. And I hate it when you do it, but I've learned how to take it, just like when you go to the doctor and the doctor says, time for a prostate massage. You know, we don't like to be corrected, but if there's always a fine, gentle way to correct other people. And because we deal with cultural things that have to do with here and Spanish, and now I figured I just mentioned it. Mark Hartman, you could never speak out of turn because you are Dr. Mark Hartman, the most amazing piano accompanist and live piano crooner that Puerto Vallarta has ever seen. And I hope you'll come back soon. I really, really do. Catherine thinks it's a clever marketing pun. Well, it being a Mexican company, I don't know that they ever thought about it that way, but I could be wrong and you could be right. That's the beautiful thing about what we're doing here. And Michael has kindly shared the URL for the show that he is going to enjoy this evening. So if you don't have anything else to do this evening, feel free to take a look at that and let us know how it went. And how about Bésame Mucho by the Beatles? Thank you, but no thanks. And I can tell you why, but not today, because it's time to go. We've had another wonderful broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I hope you're out and about scaring your neighbors, singing your favorite songs in operatic fashion. You know, let us all go out and scare the living hell out of everybody that we can. But before we do that, just remember to stay kind, stay healthy, stay happy, stay friendly, stay in touch, stay patient, and stay face masked, please. And I will hopefully see you again soon. Remember, tomorrow is Sunday Funday, so don't bring any sadness and bring all kinds of irreverence to the table, because I can top your irreverence if I have to. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.